Good morning guys, so I'm on day 4 of the Tao expedition, and if you haven't seen that video then it was the one I just posted, so go back and watch that to see the full experience. But essentially this is where I was staying last night, on this beach hut on the beachfront, and I've got this equipment here, literally just a bar and then some dip bars over there, and I'm going to walk through the perfect bodyweight workout with zero equipment. So whether you're stuck at home, don't have access to a gym, or on a beach in the middle of nowhere, you can get a full body workout in with zero equipment, and I'm going to walk you through the exercises now. So I trained some pull yesterday, as you will see on the main video, just some pull-ups and some horizontal rows, so I'll walk you through obviously how we'll do that here, but the primary function of this workout for me is going to be a push workout and some legs as well. So let's get into it. So first things first, we've got to loosen off, so get into full monkey mode. Starting with a deep squat, opening up the hamstrings, opening up the hips and lengthening the back as well. So firstly, if you can't do a deep squat, then it's super important. You need to try and get that ankle mobility and hip mobility as quick as possible. So you want to be able to try and squat as deep as you can. So maybe you're at this point and just sit there and try and open up the hips, try and open up the ankles, and just get into that position where you can rest at the bottom. This is obviously historically how humans are meant to sit. It's a resting position. This is how we used to go to the toilet, obviously before toilet seats as well. So it's a very healthy position. It allows you to decompress your spine, as I said, and it allows you to open up your legs, so to reduce that risk of injury once you start working out, and just feel more connected with your body overall. So definitely work on this as a matter of priority. So firstly, straight into pushing. How do we do a horizontal press without access to a bench press or dumbbells or any extra weight? Obviously you've got the press up. There's levels of progression to the press up. You start with just being on your knees, like so. Find a flat bit of ground, use the knees, lower yourself down, and then press up, slowly down and fast up. Then if you're in a position where you can do more than like 15 reps of them, you want to be moving on to proper press ups. So you'd have your trunk completely straight all the way from your knees to your hips to your back, and then you want to be doing the same again, really slow on the eccentric, and then explode up. And then to make that one step harder, you want to try and change the movement arc so that you've got more weight on that chest, on that pec major. So the best way to do that is to elevate the legs, and then you're going to be putting more strain and more like time under tension on the pec. So if you find a way to elevate the legs, like this ledge here, elevate the legs. So feet on the bench, keeping the core straight. And that's about as difficult as you can make a horizontal press before it starts to turn into a vertical press. So now the next exercise we would move on to would be a vertical press. So you do whatever level of progression you're at with that, and then you move towards a handstand push-up. So level 1 of a handstand push-up, we're just changing our body position now. So my hands are going to be closer to where my feet are, and I'm going to get into more of a pike position, like so, and then lower down, more like an overhead press. So we're in a handstand push-up position without putting the whole weight of our body through our hands, because we've got obviously some tension through our legs as well. You want to adjust and amend this to gradually and more gradually get more weight through your arms and less through your legs. The more of a pike position I get into, the heavier it's going to be for my upper body. Exactly like that. Now there comes a point obviously where you get too strong for that, and so your overhead press needs to bear the entire weight of your body. So what you would do then, if you can't hold a handstand, which I can't, without anything to press against, you press against the tree. So I set myself up with my legs on this tree and do handstand push-ups like so. So then just in 2 exercises, that's pec major taken care of, both the clavicular head and the scapular head. So you're hitting that upper chest and the main part of your chest. And then with the overhead press as well, you're starting to hit the medial delt and the anterior delt. So I would do 4 sets of each, and the key is in the intensity of the reps. So you can make that as easy or as hard for yourself as you want. You want to be doing it nice and slow eccentrically, so that you increase that time under tension and basically maximize the resources available to you, and then explode up. So you want to keep the reps in the region of sets of 7 to 16 reps, depending on your strength and how difficult you're making it for yourself. So then just one final push exercise to round off push. Obviously, like I said, we can take care of the chest with that, take care of the medial and anterior delt. Now we just need a little bit of a finisher for the triceps. This is such an underrated exercise that I never see anyone do. But it's a way you can activate the long head of the tricep with zero equipment, just using your body weight. So we're going to move on to that now. So I'm going to do an overhead tricep extension with the tree. You'll feel such a good stretch from that and feel that long head activation. And you can make it as easy or as hard for you as you want by either placing your hands higher or lower on the tree, as you saw me do. And one final exercise, one final push exercise that you can do pretty much anywhere. You just need a flat bar of some kind. So if you've got parallel bars like this, it's way more ideal, but a flat bar is achievable as well. And we're just going to do dips. But the key to dips is you need to lean over as much as possible so that you can activate your chest while activating your triceps and delts as well. So I'll show you how we do that now. Starting with the flat bar. Go. So that is 4 elite push exercises with zero equipment. You don't need equipment, you don't need a gym, you just need to get motivated and you need to use the equipment that's available to you. Now moving on to pull. And if you're an OG and you've watched one of my first ever videos, which was push and pull biomechanics, they're not the best videos, they're not very fluent, they're not very quick, but the detail in there of the principles behind a good pull and a push workout and using the range of motion which your body has its biomechanics evolved to push in is what's going to maximize your results. So when we're doing a pull workout, we want to start with a pull up because that's the most difficult exercise you can do. And I like to do an overhand shoulder width apart pull up as my primary exercise for pull. Then we'd move on to a horizontal row. So because this is slightly easier, that's why we do it second. Much like with press, I would recommend doing the overhead press first and then moving on to the pull-ups because, sorry, the push-ups. Because the overhead press is harder than a push-up. So yeah, then we'll go into a horizontal row, which I'll show you now, and that's essentially just hooking your legs up so that you're pulling horizontally rather than vertically with respect to your body. And then finally, you would have the equivalent of an upright row or a shrug, and that literally is hanging upside down on the bar. Hopefully it doesn't collapse on me, but we're gonna hang upside down on the bar and just do some like scapular retractions to activate the upper trap. And if you have any energy left, then you can move into a chin up. So either on here you can use like a neutral grip or an underhand grip to finish off the biceps. And in doing so, you're going to go through your entire back and activate your entire back. So with the pull-ups, you're maximizing your lat engagement, and with the horizontal stuff, you're maximizing your mid-trap engagement. And with the upright stuff, like the shrug equivalent, you're going to be maximizing your upper trap engagement. And then all of them, anytime you're bending your arms, you're using your biceps, which is why I haven't trained arms or I haven't trained biceps in like 4 years now, because I don't want my arms to be any bigger and they get taken care of all the time when you're doing these compound exercises. So let's move on to that now. I'll show you them one by one. So you see how we're using the same bar for all 3 exercises, but just by changing the position of our torso relative to our arms, we're activating completely different muscles in the back. So that first one being a pull-up, obviously, that second one simulating a horizontal row, and that third one simulating like a shrug. As you see, I'm just doing my scapular retractions and activating the upper part of my back. So that should be the back finished off, but now if you want a little bit of extra lat and bicep activation, you can change the orientation in which you're doing the pull-up. So obviously we did an overhand grip, neutral width apart, and now you can move on to either a neutral grip or an underhand grip. So I'll show you that now. So this obviously being the neutral grip, being a lot of lat activation, a lot of lower trap activation, and a lot of bicep as well. And then if you wanted to focus even more on the biceps, you can move into an underhand chin up. So as with all of these exercises, that's why I don't keep repeating myself. You want to be aiming for between 7 and 15 reps in order to maximize hypertrophy, and you want to be doing about 3 or 4 sets of each one. So yeah, I don't need to go into any more detail than that, except you want to be getting really close to failure at the end, if not failing. So at the end of that first push exercise where you're doing your handstand push-ups, you should have the last couple of sets where you're failing right at the end. Then into push-ups, that last set, you shouldn't be able to do any more. And then same for pull-ups. If you're going to do 4 sets of pull-ups, the first 3, keep away from failure a little bit, keep a couple of reps in reserve, but then on that last set, you want to be going all the way so that you've got nothing left. And that's how, when you bounce back next time, your muscles know to get stronger because you've used the maximum of their capability. So they're going to tear and repair to be slightly better than they were before. Now finally, legs. Legs are the hardest muscle group to hit without any external weight or stimulus because they're the strongest muscles in your bodies, your hamstrings and your quads. So it can be difficult to get a decent session in, but what I'm going to show you now is like a pistol squat progression to maximize your quad stimulation in order to grow your quads if you haven't spent much time in the gym yet, or to maintain your quads if you're, you know, like a heavy squatter. And so the pistol squat was the exercise I used throughout all of COVID for like a year straight with no additional weight, just single leg pistol squats in order to maintain the mass and the strength in my quads. So a full pistol squat looks like this. I'll show you now. Find a flat bit of land. And again, if you don't have the strength to do that, you need to use the equipment available to you. So we're gonna use this small tree trunk to support ourselves. And this will be the one step below. If you can't do a full pistol squat, you would do this. So we're coming in here, we're holding onto the tree for stability, and we can use the tree to pull us up as much as we need. So it's the same movement, but I'm using my right arm to take any weight off if I need to. And obviously we're also then supporting with the balance and the stability and the ankle and hip mobility as well. So if you're not completely there yet, you're just training that movement pattern. And then finally, if you want to make things slightly easier than that, we've got one more variation. This time, instead of having the non-working leg in front of you, you're just going to put it behind you. So you're slightly limiting your range of motion, and it's easier to balance as well. So you can use the tree, and you're just going to tuck down like this. You can rest at the bottom if you can't hold yourself, and then pressing off. So lowering yourself down, pressing off, and then one level up from this is by not touching the bottom. So you come all the way down, you just hover on the floor and you press. So all the way down, hover on the floor, press, press. And if you do that alternating legs, like between, again, depending on your strength, between like 8 and 15 reps a side, and do 3 sets of that, your quads are going to be well looked after afterwards. Right, check out Jimson, guys. This is what you call island life genetics. So
yeah, Filipino power.
Yeah, Filipino power. Yeah, he doesn't do any hypertrophy training, just working out like with physical labor. So like you said, with a chainsaw as a kid.
Yeah.
And then now on the boat, like pulling the anchor and all the kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, swimming kayak.
Yeah. Proper island guy. So yeah, now we're just going to move on to hamstrings, which is the last exercise. And so it's very difficult to isolate your hamstrings without any additional weight, but this is one way you can do it if you have any partners or friends. Yeah, like that, yeah. And then I'm gonna, and then you fall forward, push yourself back. So I'm using my hamstrings to slow my descent, and then using them to pull me back up as well. So it's called a Nordic curl. Like that. One more. Good stuff, thank you.
Thank you.
You want to try?
I don't know how.
Yeah, you just fall down slowly. Yeah?
And then
Yeah, fall down. Straight back. That, yeah. Good. And then push and use these muscles.
yeah.
What's there?
Less pushing, fall slow. Keep your hands here and fall to the ground.
Like this?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Well done. You want to try?
No, I don't.
No. Thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you, bye.
The best one for you, you'll jump up to here, and then climb to here, and then just pull yourself like this. No, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, good. All the way to the bottom. Lower all the way down. Yeah. Unbelievable.
One hand,
Yeah, go on.
like this.
Nice. Well done.
I know it.
And then like slowly bring yourself down. That's it. Yeah, good. And then push yourself all the way up. And then slowly down. Yeah, good. You're doing well to maintain the strength throughout the set because it drops off quite quick. Now if you bend over, feel that in your hamstrings now. You feel that in there, yeah. Cool, so that is the quads and the hamstrings knocked back now, but there's one final exercise where you can kind of combine them together, activate a slightly different part of the hamstring while activating the quad as well. So the idea is you're doing this is like the most advanced version. You're doing a pistol squat into a Romanian deadlift, obviously with no weight. So I come out like this, and I'm gonna pistol squat, and then as I press up, I'm gonna bend over and touch the floor and activate the hamstring. So we come back to neutral using the hamstring, lowering ourselves down with the quads and the glutes, pressing up with the quads and the glutes, then bending over to activate the hamstring, and then using that hamstring and glute to bring us back again. And then obviously we're using quad, hamstring, glute, all just in one exercise with no equipment as a great finisher. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and found that useful, then please subscribe, because I'm never gonna hold back any information as you've seen today. I'm just trying to give and support as many, guys that want to get into shape as much as possible. So yeah, please support me by subscribing and by liking and commenting. I want to build a bit of a community, so get involved and let's take over. Cheers guys. Wow!